Jagrative, Jam Masters. When you're walking or running, you look in front of yourself to see where you're going. The spiritual path is exactly the same. You can't go anywheres unless you set your sights somewhere. I'm not telling you where it should be, but you'll stay the same if you don't set your sights. In yoga and spirituality, we set our sights very high. Doesn't mean you're frustrated if you don't achieve it. Doesn't mean you judge yourself. It just means you can only go as far as you're looking. You can only go as far as your sights are set. So a lot of the path, it's not about techniques, how long you can meditate. It's about, have you set your sights higher than you used to? Do you set your sights higher? So for example, everybody sets their sights, almost everybody, at I want to get what I like and I want to avoid what I don't like. There are things I like, I want to get them. There are things I don't like, I want to avoid them. That is not a very high setting for your sights. Why? Because you stay the same. You've already said, this is where I'm at, this is what turns me on, this is what turns me off, so I'm going to set my sights at that level. Well, you might get some of what you want, you might avoid some of what you don't want, you're going to go through the duality of getting and not getting. That's just the nature of the world. It's never going to present its whole self to you. And that's your life. I'm doing this broad. Like somebody might say, well, you shouldn't want this, you should want that. No, I'm just saying that if you set your sights at whatever it is that you want and whatever it is you don't want, I don't care. That's very personal. You have inside of yourself things that you want and things you don't want. And because I'm so psychic, I know how you decided those things. The things that turn you on, you want. And the things that turn you off, you don't want. Am I close? Okay. Now, that goes for everybody. Because I didn't say what it was that you want, and I didn't say what it was that turned you on or off. You're all covered. No matter what it is, if you're not setting your sights higher, and we'll talk about that, you are going to spend your life, every bit of it, trying to get what you want and avoid what you don't want. And don't feel bad, because that's what everybody does. They just want or don't want different things. And some of the things they want are socially acceptable, and some of the things they want are not socially acceptable, and et cetera, et cetera. We see all kinds of stuff going on, don't we? Like the worst person, we have all kinds of examples nowadays, the worst person that could do anything is doing it because they want something or don't want something. That's not very high. It's a pretty low bar that's how I'm operating. And that goes for people that are strong, that goes for people that are weak. Somebody who's weak, I don't want to get yelled at, I don't want to get in trouble. Somebody who's strong, I want this, I want that. It's the same. If you look at it at a high enough level, it's the same. It's all about what do I want and what do I not want. So there's the beginning. I'm telling you, by the time we're done with this discussion, you're going to see that that's about as low as you can set your sights. It's just, maybe you might want to ask yourself, instead of how do I get what I want, why do you want that? That's a little deeper, isn't it? As opposed to just reacting to whatever's going on in there of wanting to go and wanting to avoid. Why? Where did it come from? So you basically come to the point where you're willing to slow down and question, what are you doing? Because otherwise you're going to do everything to try and get what you want and avoid what you don't want. All right? That's what a drug addict does, isn't it? It's all about getting the drug. That's what every decision's about. That's what all their life is about. They're addicted. Guess what? You're addicted. Sorry, I'm going to use that word. You're addicted to what you want. And you're addicted to avoiding what you don't want. It drives you. It says what you say. It says what you do. It says how you act. It says how you dress. All right? So now our starting position is there's a way that I am. Or at least there's a way that I have myself inside. And that way is involved in very strong tendencies toward what I want and what I don't want. All right, well, what happens next if you go that road? We'll talk about a higher road, but let's make sure we understand that that road is not high. You are doing the same thing all the time, which is, this is what's going on inside of me, and I've devoted myself to it. There's a word for that, ego. It's not a dirty word. That's what's going on in there, right? What does that mean? It's about me. How do I know it's about you? Because if you still love your spouse, you stay with them. And if you don't want to hang out with them, you like somebody better, you leave them. Uh-oh. That's terrible. Well, it's just the world. If what you're devoted to is yourself, and I'm telling you, if what you're out there and your sights are only set at what turns me on, what do I want, what do I like, who do I like, what do I want to do, it's about you. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not a terribly high way to live your life. Or, this bothers me. What bothers me? This bothers me. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I'm going to avoid it. So you're just, I don't know what to say. You're just a machine inside that is reacting to whatever's going on in there that feels better or feels worse, etc., etc. Okay, next what happens? If you live that life, and we do, I might say you do, I don't blame you. We as humans do, don't we? All of us, pretty much. It's how we live. Well, what happens next? Okay, so I have these tendencies inside of me, these energy flows, these drives, these, who cares, call it whatever you want, these wants and not wants. You know what the great ones call them? Preferences. They're preferences. There's a way you prefer that things be, and there's a way that you prefer that they don't be. Fine. Right? Now what do? You take that brilliant, the new book, it's a whole chapter on the brilliance of the human mind. The human mind is brilliant. It discovered that everything I'm looking at is made of atoms. It discovered how to split the atoms. It discovered what the atoms are made of. I mean, give me a break. That's your mind. Wow. Who gave you that? Creation. Don't you dare take great pride if you're smart. You did not make yourself smart. You understand that? It's a gift that was given to you. If you're beautiful, it's a gift that's given to you. If you're strong, it's a gift that's given to you. If your body's tall, short, whatever it is. How dare you put your ego into that? You did nothing. And I said, well, I read a lot of books. Well, you were smart enough to read the books. Did you understand what the books meant? Who gave you that? Because you didn't. It's just there. So the brilliance of the human mind, which is capable, I used a few examples of explaining the atom, of figuring that out. You know, it used to be dark at night. Not anymore. You figured out how to make the night light. That's your mind. You didn't like snap your fingers or tap your head. Okay? Your mind figured electricity out. It figured all these things out. And it's you. You, personally, the human mind, you have one. You don't have a possum's mind. You have the human mind. And the human mind is brilliant. The human mind took metals and materials, elements like silicon, dug them up out of the earth, which it made machines to do that, put them together into a rocket ship, got inside. They put their bodies inside that thing that their mind talked to them about, and they flew to the moon. Didn't they? Your mind did that. NASA didn't do that. The mind did that, didn't it? The human mind figured all this stuff out. You have one of those. I don't care if it knows rocket science. It's brilliant. What do you do with your brilliant mind on a normal, everyday basis? You try to figure out how to get what you want and avoid what you don't want. And that's the truth. That's the truth. You think about, what do I need to say? What do I influence somebody? What do I need to wear? How do I need to act? What should I do? Should I move? Why would you want to move? Because I can get what I want or avoid what I don't want. Why else would you move? There. That's an amazing thing to do with your human mind. It's bad enough that you devoted your life to getting what you want and avoiding what you don't want. Now you have devoted the brilliance of your aspect of the human mind to you. That's what it thinks about. If you're not careful and you take a look at it, you're going to notice that's what it's thinking about. When you take a shower, when you're driving by yourself, whatever it is, there it is. It's talking about how to get what you want and avoid what you don't want. You know what else it's talking about? Resentment that you had to get what you didn't want in the past, or resentment that you didn't get what you wanted in the past. You know what else it talks about? Fear that you won't get what you want in the future, and you will end up getting what you don't want, getting hurt. Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. That's the default. That's what's going to happen if you don't do anything about it. And it's going to happen every day of your life. Your grandmother does that. She just does it about different things. I don't want to go to a nursing home. I don't like it here. I don't like it, blah, 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 blah. And your 5-year-old child does the same thing. It's the default. The new book that's coming out soon, a month, all right, is titled Living Untethered. The subtitle is Beyond the Human Predicament. And that's the human predicament, isn't it? All right? Why are there wars? Because somebody wants something and somebody doesn't want something. And unfortunately, those people sometimes have tremendous say in the world, don't they? Tremendous power about what they like and don't like. I know we have situations right now, but let's go to the biggie Hitler. For some reason, he didn't like Jews. He didn't like lots of things. Whoa, look what he did with that. Did it cause some trouble? I'm telling you, anyone who's in there deciding that the world should be the way they want and not be the way they don't want causes their own micro problems in the environment around them, how they treat people and what they do and how they manipulate. And in other words, it's about me. Why is it not about me? Because it's not about you. There's a whole world that's not about you. What part of this, let's take just your city. What part of what is going on every moment in your city, all the people, all the buildings, all the weather, everything, is about you, really? Nothing. 0.01. But to you, it's all about you. If you don't do something about it, that is where you have set your sights. Nothing matters but me. Oh, but she matters to me. Well, yeah, you like her and you want to keep her. So she matters to you because she falls into the category of what you like and what you don't like. But it's still about you. That's amazing, isn't it? If you dare to look at it. And I told you, take your city. You know, Mickey doesn't think like that. Let's take your city. How much of it is about you? Now let's take your state. How many people are talking in your state at the same time? How many things are going on? How many people are moving? How many things are going on in your state? How much is about you? It's so small, it's ridiculous. But you made your whole life be about you when it's not about you. And that's just your city and your state. Now let's take the earth. I like doing that. Come on. You don't even think about the rest of it. All the countries and all the things and all the people and all the families and all the, right? I don't even know. You could look it up and you think, how many people are being born right now? How many people are dying? How much is it about you? Please answer me. What percentage is about you? It's infinitesimal. Now, I have this mind. I trained him. Okay? He doesn't stop there. And I'm talking about all day. He says, okay, there's the earth. It's not about me. Did you know that 1.3 million planet Earths fit in the sun? Did you know that? That's how small you are. And you weren't even a part of it. You were already 10 minus 7 billion. That's how much was about you. Now, the whole planet, 1.3 million Earths fit in the sun. You better pay attention. I'm asking you, this whole thing is about where have you set your sights? You're really going to do that? Because you're not even part of that little ball. We already said that. And that little ball is 1.3 million fit inside the sun. Okay? But then why stop there? How many suns are there? 300 billion in your galaxy. Now, that's a number. We don't understand numbers like that. So I figured it out. She helped me. Watch. What does it mean, 300 billion stars in your galaxy? If you sat in that corner, you're welcome to do it. If you sat in that corner and counted per second one number to 300 billion, I wouldn't even play with you and ask you how long it will take. I'll just tell you, if you lived for 100 years, it would take 95 lifetimes. And I want you to answer me, which one of you can count fast enough where 275,613,1,213,604 is in a second. That didn't take a second, did it? So therefore, it's not even close to 95 lifetimes. Okay, that gives you an idea. That's how many stars are in your galaxy. Okay, how important are you now? Come on. How does it feel now to focus on you? I'm devoting my life to this. I'm devoting my life, every moment of my life, to what I want and what I don't want. And this is what is really going on. Well, I would like to stop there, and I won't belabor the point, and I won't even make you count. But that's one galaxy. There are 2 trillion galaxies. Now, you want to talk to me about your problems? I don't think so. This is what it is called to start questioning, where are you setting your sights? That's where we started, isn't it? That's what it looks like if you say, oh, what matters is what I want and what I don't want. What matters in the realm of what? It's so small I can't even talk about it. And if you're not careful, you will be in your deathbed not wanting to die, or not wanting to leave your husband or wife, or not wanting to not see your kids graduate. These terrible things, right? That's what's going to happen, isn't it? You are full of these wants and not wants, these preferences. And they seem really important until you dare to expand your awareness to even a fraction of what's going on. And all of a sudden, I'm not saying you're not going to change tomorrow. This is serious stuff. This is a spiritual discussion, isn't it? But just spend a moment to jump. What if spirituality was, I would like to maintain the consciousness of reality instead of the consciousness of me and my silly little preferences that I've just made up. What do you mean I just made them up? They're important. You want to bet? Watch. Tell me what you want. Set up your preferences, right? Then meet somebody that you fall in love with. And let's see if they change. Let's see if all of a sudden these thoughts inside your mind of what you like and what you don't like and how to get it kind of alter a little bit in order to keep the person, ooh, boy, wow. So they weren't so real after all, were they? They were all about getting what feels good and avoiding what feels bad. This is a serious discussion because this is ridiculous to spend your entire life that little. That's a pretty small thing, isn't it? And you devoted your life to it. Okay, what's the alternative? Whoa. Is there an alternative? Because the truth of the matter is, I'm pretty committed to what makes me feel good and avoiding what makes me feel bad. It's kind of like, it's nice, okay? I don't get always what I want. I have to work hard for it, and then I worry about whether I'll keep it, don't I? It doesn't really work, does it? Okay? It creates, what's that word? Anxiety, tension, fear of loss, fear of rejection. Anybody know anything about any of those words? That's where they come from. They come from you making yourself so small that you have to control the world as it passes by you. Fat chance. And that's it. Now all of a sudden you're at war. When it's said and done, you are at war with reality. You may not realize it. You're at war with reality. Why? Reality is what's unfolding in front of you. I define the book, reality is what just happened. Okay? Reality is not what you want to happen. Reality is not what you hope happens. Reality is what just happened there. It just happened. He's sitting there. That's it. Guess what? You ain't changing that. Not if it already happened. You can complain about it. You can try to make sure it doesn't happen again. No one has ever, in the history of the world, made not happen what already happened. Yes or no? And you wonder why you're having so much tension and so much trouble. What I deal with is, reality just happened. What did you do about it? Because you got 2 choices, and only 2 choices. Accept, reject, resist. You may accept that it happened, or you may resist that it happened. That doesn't change it from having happened, does it? He said what he said, he did what he did, she wore what she wore. It happened. And then it comes into you, doesn't it? And you either accept that happened, or you decide, no, it did not. You did not just say that. I must not be hearing properly. You would never have said that. Why are you saying that? Because she said it. It's hilarious. You are either accepting reality or you are resisting reality. And if you resist reality, you are at war with reality. So I wasn't exaggerating. No, bad reality. Don't you dare do that, okay? And you become a mess. That's what happens, because reality doesn't change. You just can't process it. You can't let that which is real come in and pass through you without creating a resistance that ends up holding. But it's really hilarious. What do you do when something happens in front of you don't like? You resist it. You push it away inside yourself. No, I can't handle this. What does that mean, I can't handle this? It means I can't let it pass through and continue its journey through the universe. Okay? Comes in, and it passes into your consciousness, and it's gone. Be here now. Here it comes. There it goes. No. This thing, I ain't doing that. I ain't letting this pass through. There's no way you did that. Well, does that mean you're not letting it pass through? It means I'm inside and I have will. And I have the right to screw myself up. I have the right to push this thing away and say no. In which case it does what? It stays. Because you didn't, I teach letting go, but I don't know if you get it. Because you didn't let it go, which is its natural process. It comes in through your senses, it formulates in your mind, and then the next thing comes in. Where'd the old one go? It should just merge with the universe. It should be like the clouds that pass by. It just comes in, you experience it, you grow from it, it makes you greater. Every single experience you have makes you a greater being. Just like every single thing you learn makes you wiser. Every experience you have makes you a wholer being. I'll tell you what, we're going to go on a hike, and it's through Arizona where there's a lot of rattlesnakes and stuff. And you're going to pick your guide. This guide is so used to those snakes, has seen them all the time, got all people through. This one is very handsome and very nice, and he's the cheapest. And he's never seen a snake in his life. Which one you want? Okay? Experience is a very nice thing. Every experience you have makes you wholer, makes you greater. Every single experience you have, because if you didn't have it yet, you don't know about it. You're not a knower of that experience. So they come in and they pass through. Well, what if they didn't feel real good? They pass, thank God. The snake, and he walks away, crawls away. It's like they come and go. What do? Everything? Nothing stays. There's not a moment that has ever stayed in all of creation. It's all like a motion picture. It's coming and going. She wasn't shaking her head a moment ago. Now she's shaking her head. You moved a little bit. Nothing stays the same. Therefore, if you can't handle the snapshot, you're going to screw up the motion picture because you end up becoming fixated that I couldn't handle this, or I really wanted this. I want it to happen again. Oh my God, I can't lose this. Right? Okay, it's staying. Don't worry. You kept it. You either keep it because you're clinging to it, or you keep it because you resisted it and it can't pass through. Do you see that? You are at war with reality. Reality just keeps coming and going. It has the ability to come and go through you. Go through the experiences by letting them pass through you and become a greater person. So you just get to the point where you say, wait a minute, there's a reality out there, but there's another one, the one I made up in my mind, isn't it? Based on what I want and what I don't want. They don't match. There is no reason it will match. You're going to go play golf tomorrow and it's going to rain. You complain all you want. It's raining. All you can do about the fact that reality doesn't match your preferences is suffer. Now, who taught you that? The first noble truth. All of life is suffering. Some people say, I thought about that. Boy, Buddha was negative. I mean, all of life is suffering. What kind of negative statement is that? The cause of suffering is every single thing we just talked about. That is what Buddha found. Sitting there meditating, the cause of suffering is preference. The cause of suffering is desire. What is desire? A preference. A way you want things to be. Was he right? Isn't that amazing? The cause of suffering is what you're doing with your mind. Life is not suffering. Life is an experience unfolding in front of you. And it's unfolding everywhere throughout the whole universe, not just in front of you. So what's wrong with the moment in front of you? Nothing until you say it is. Let's say you're married and oh, they don't get worse. But you're Catholic, and you've not gotten around for years, and you come home, and there's a letter sitting on the side of the bed. It's over. I'm out of here. Goodbye. Wow. He's just in bliss. He's like, are you kidding? Look what God just did. He took this guy off my hands, right? Now let's say that you don't want that to happen, that you're very dependent, very whatever it is, and the letter's there, you freak out. It's the same act. The universe did the same thing. It's what you brought to the party. If you desired it or you feared it, that's inside. It had a totally different effect on you, didn't it? Wake up. Everything is that way. Everything. There is a world unfolding in front of you. At every moment, it unfolds. The book goes in great detail. I hope you do well with it. That says, why did it do that? Why did it have to rain on my birthday? It doesn't know it's your birthday. There's no way in the world it knows it's your birthday. Stop it. If you want to know why it rained, go study meteorology. And that goes for everything. Everything has a reason, doesn't it? It's called cause and effect. Every single thing that unfolds interacts with everything that ever did unfold, and it creates this moment of reality. That's why it did. Like, you don't really want to know why it rained on your birthday, because it takes a long time to explain the weather patterns. But that's not what you meant, is it? You meant, why wasn't it the way I wanted it to be? Why isn't reality what I want? Because first of all, none of you want the same thing, and there's 7.5 billion of you walking around, and it's ridiculous anyways. There's laws, there's science. So when I say you went to war with reality, you really did. Do you know there are times in your life when something happens, you say, that's wrong. It should not have rained. When I planned my wedding outside, it hasn't rained for 3 weeks, and all of a sudden it rains on that day. That's just wrong. You honestly believe that things should be the way you want, don't you? Reality is not wrong. It may not be what you want. It may not be so socially acceptable. It may not fit really well, but it's reality. Reality wins. Reality always wins. Now, the only question is, can you handle it? Can you handle the reality that's unfolding in front of you? Or do you put your entire vote on your preferences? And I'm telling you what people do. They don't even think like this. They put their entire vote on it should be the way I want. And it should never be the way I don't want. And you're creating suffering. That's Buddha. All of life is suffering. Why? Because you do that. Because you allow yourself to create desires and preferences. The word preferences is better than desires. The Zen patriarch, third Zen patriarch that wrote one of the deepest treatises on faith mind, he said preferences. Okay? And a lot of them translate it that way. Because if I say desire, you think passion, lust, all. No. Desire means you have a way you want things to be. How's that? That's what my desire is. I desire something to be a certain way. Well, that's a preference. I like preference too, because desire sounds strong, and preference just sounds like, it's innocent. It's just little. All right? It is the cause of all suffering. If you don't do that, how do we know that? If you do that, you suffer. Why? Because it's not going to be the way you want, and you're going to complain, and you get anxiety, and you get ulcers, and you're going to do all kinds of stuff bad for yourself. And if you don't have that, it's a breeze. It says, whoa, what's going to happen next? Whoa, I get to go to work. I get to get up early in the morning. I get to, whatever. Just have a good time, will you? Because it's going to unfold anyways. So this, I've kind of backed my way into, is there a higher way to aim your eyes? You do what aims you where you want to go. You devote yourself to something higher than yourself. Or you devote yourself higher than your preferences and desires. How do you do that? You don't suppress them, they just get stronger. You don't renounce them, you're lying to yourself. You realize, yes, I have these tendencies. There are these tendencies. We'll talk about how you got them and why they're there, what to do about it. But in the meantime, yes, there's these tendencies. Fine. You don't have to do it. Nobody said you had to do it. But it's hard. Yes, it is. It is hard to have urges and tendencies come up inside of you of what you want and what you don't want and not participate in pushing it away or grabbing it. But if all you do is devote yourself to you, I'm sorry, we wasted our time talking. Because that's what you've done. You devoted your life to what you want and what you don't want. As you work with yourself when you set your eyes higher, what does it mean to set your eyes higher? I'm perfectly happy if the only height you can raise your eyes is, that doesn't work. I don't know what does, but I know that doesn't. How long am I going to keep doing what doesn't work? Because if I keep doing what doesn't work, I'm never going to find out what might. I have seen that if I am thirsty, I don't know about you, and I go out to the beach, and it looks like there's some moisture on a hot rock, and I pick it up and try to suck it off, burns my lips, and I don't like it. Oh, how long am I going to keep doing it? So I don't want you to see this guilt or fear or anything. It just doesn't work. You've been doing it your whole life. Are you completely content? Do you never have any worries? Do you feel completely whole and ecstatic and just filled with love and joy all the time, no matter whatever happens? That's called it. That one worked. Okay? All right? There is such a state. This does not have to be dualistic. There is something inside of you that's really beautiful, and you feel it when you get what you want. And it goes away when you get what you don't want. And it definitely goes away if you don't get what you want. Have you noticed that the outside world affects what you feel inside? That's an insult. I live inside. This is my heart. It's my heart. It belongs in here. I'm with it. It's my mind. Why don't I have a nice mind? It's mine. You're not in there doing anything to my mind. Neither are you. Aren't you the only one that lives in there? It's a single occupancy apartment. Therefore, I have the right to clean it up. I have the right to feel love all the time, no matter what happens. It's inside of me, right? But you've devoted yourself to say, no, I'm conditional. I will only feel love if you act exactly the way I need you to act. And if I'm not feeling good, you know exactly how to treat me. You're always there when I need you to be there. And you're never there when I need some space. And you know the difference. Hi, take a run because you don't want to be with me. It's not going to work out too good for either of us. You understand that? All right? So you just basically realize it's higher. I don't want to be conditional. I don't want my love to be dependent upon things. Doesn't mean I'm not in a relationship. Doesn't mean I don't get married. Doesn't mean I have children. Doesn't mean anything like that. The world unfolds. It means I am not defining the state of my being based upon what you're doing or what anybody else is doing. I live in here. You don't. And no matter what you do, I don't care how close you try to get, that is a single occupancy apartment. And you're the only one who lives in there. Your children don't live in there. Your husband don't live in there. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? They don't know how to behave, do they? Those people out there. And you just basically get to the point where you say, this is a higher way to aim your thing. I know that, look, I know, I will assure you, but you don't have to listen, that trying to get what you want and avoid what you don't want does not work. It works that you get it, you feel better, but then you worry about losing it. And then how often do you get what you want versus don't get what you want? It's like, everything has to be just right. There are people who are young and they're beautiful and they're handsome and they don't want to get old. Okay, come back and talk to me a little later because you lose. Wake up. It's not about getting what you want. It's about getting whole inside. We'll talk about how to do that. Getting whole inside so that you always feel wonderful. And don't you dare doubt that there's such a state, because there is. And I don't care how messed up you think you are at the starting position, inside of you, behind this garbage of like and dislike and preferences and all the noise you create around that, the psyche, the personal psyche, there is something very, very beautiful in there. And the only time you get to feel it is if your psyche says, okay, you can feel it now. I like what she said. And then if it sits there and says, oh, God, this is great. Look what he said. And how wonderful I feel. Did he mean it? Does he say it to anybody else? Right? Why was he so nice to me today? What did he do? Come on, blush. You can't win, can you? It doesn't stop. It will never stop. Because you need something to be a certain way, and you know the world does not belong to you. We already said that. It unfolds. You're not secure. You will never feel secure. Because you're only secure if you get what you want. And how many times you got what you want and then you lost it? How many times you got what you want and you realized it really wasn't what you wanted? How many times did somebody tell you something and turn out they were lying? Enough to where it's just not all that safe in there, is it? It's not all that comfortable in there. And you're just kind of waiting for it to be okay. So, like I said, that's the default. And most people will never listen to this talk. They will not understand it. In fact, I'm shocked how many people read The Untethered Soul. It doesn't sit there and say, here's how to get what you want. And millions of people read the book. and do real well. Why? Because it is higher no matter how much, just a little bit you lift those eyes up and aim a little higher than devoting your life to getting what you want, avoiding what you don't want, and you're better off. You're better off no matter how much, just the littlest bit, to raise your sights higher than you, than the personal self that has needs and fears and desires. And that self is not so nice. It's not even nice to hang out with, is it? All right? It's full of need. It's full of desires. It's full of fears, full of anxieties. It's full of doubts. Why do you want to hang out with that? There's much nicer places inside of you. But to the extent that you devote yourself to that, and you do, people do, if you devote yourself to that, you're taking all your energy and saying, yes, you are me. You can be like this, and I'll devote myself to you. That's like devoting yourself to the drug. I'm telling you right now, if a drug addict is going through withdrawal and you offer them a drug, it's going to make them feel much better. Well, that's what's happening here. Same thing. So where do you aim your eyes? Like I said to you a moment ago, I'm very open with this stuff, right? If you just understand that devoting yourself to yourself, which means to your desires and fears, to your personal stuff, your personal lacking, that devoting yourself to yourself does not work. You will find your way. It will take you longer than if you had a teacher, if you had someone that's done it already and can help guide you, because we're all on the same path. What do you mean we're on the same path? You have to let go of yourself. You can't devote yourself to yourself. You can, but we've already talked about what happens. You're not going to reach a state of absolute well-being. You'll never experience the greatness that you are. So what it means is you just start with a position of, if this is what's coming up inside of me, is it just another desire, another preference, another need, because I'm not okay, and this will compensate for it? Okay? I don't feel love. I'm lonely. What does that mean? It means I'm not okay, doesn't it? I'm not okay. And I need to go out and find somebody so that I feel love and I feel more okay. That's called compensating for the fact that you're not okay. You make it as romantic as you want to. And it's wonderful. Fine. I hope you find it. I do. And I hope it works and so on. It's not going to last, right? Because it's only compensating. It didn't get rid of what made you not feel okay. It's just something you put on top of it that lets you feel better. I'm more interested in you saying, okay, enough of this. Doesn't mean I'm renouncing anything, but I got work to do in here. I want to raise myself. I want to raise my sights toward what? If there's stuff inside of me that is messing me up, I'm bringing in a vacuum cleaner. If you got a house that's all messed up and you don't feel comfortable going home, you clean it up. That's what I'm asking you to do inside yourself. Just go in there and say, okay, here's my father did this. They caused all kinds of trouble. And ever since I was little, I've not liked people like that, or I like people like this. And it has these impressions. How's that? The world left impressions on me. No, it didn't leave impressions on you. You kept them in there. It all is the same. It all just comes in through. A camera does not know what it took a picture of. It's all the same. When that comes in through your senses, it just comes in, renders in your mind, and passes through unless you stop it. And that's why daddy's still in there. And that's why first boyfriend's still in there. And that's why that when you fell out of the tree and broke your leg is still in there. You kept it in there. And you're going to find out that that's why you don't feel love all the time. Well, it just seemed like I was just protecting myself. Yes. But by protecting yourself, you held this inside of you that is blocking your energy flow. And so now if the outside matches nicely, you meet somebody else who fell out of the same tree and create a tree falling blog, and you just can't wait. You can't wait to go. You'll do that. You can't wait to go there. You'll rush home, just like the drug addict. You'll rush home. It doesn't mean you don't blog, please. Don't do that. Don't do that to me. I have to be able to talk the truth to you without you getting neurotic. All right? But what I'm saying is the truth. You will run to that blog. Why? Because it matches the impression that you have. You'll want to talk to somebody else that had the same thing. It will make you feel so much better because you can open. You can open there. It doesn't go away. If they take that blog away, you're hurting. You didn't fix anything. You compensated for it by finding a way to release and open some of the energy. But you're doing it by matching what's causing it to close. And so basically you just wake up. That's all I can tell you. You will wake up and you will look in there and you'll say, if I'm not careful, I'm going to keep doing this my whole life. because it's the path of least resistance to try and do the little things that are easier. Well, I need to do some work on myself. That's what it boils down to. What work? I would rather have you figure it out than me tell you. But I'm willing to give you clues, right? What work? The work is if you start to see a tendency to grab something to compensate for a problem you have, my teaching is very simple and it's tough. I don't play around with you guys. If you see it coming up, who sees it? Obviously, you see anger is coming up. You see need is coming up. You see desire is coming up. You see this coming up, don't you? All right? Relax. Just relax. Just relax. And when people come back to me and say, well, it won't relax. You're trying to get the energy to relax. I didn't ask the energy to relax. I don't want you to touch the energy. You relax. What do you mean? You know what I mean. You're in there. Here comes the energy, and you're about to go into it, aren't you? You're about to have it pull you into whatever it wants, resistance or desire. Anyone know what I'm talking about? It happens all the time, doesn't it? Okay? You in there that experience it, you can relax. You, the experiencer, can relax. It's not easy. Why? Because you're like the drug addict's not doing the drug. It's not easy to go through withdrawal. You are addicted to these drives. You're addicted to these impulses that take place. So if you relax, there's going to be some pull. There's going to be some tug-of-war stuff going on. It actually should scare you to say, oh my God, it was that strong? I don't have the ability to not do what this stupid thing's telling me to do. You're going to find out you may not. You hear me? Fine. So then you go there and you see it. And you have the consequences of saying what you said and doing what you did. Because that's where consequences come from. When you take energy from inside and you push it outside, that's called karma. You work with it inside, there's no karma. You have a high intent to do the best you can. It really minimizes the effect. If your intent is not to get what I want and avoid what I don't want, that really pushes stuff out there. It's called polluting your environment from your inside. Your inside's not okay. Now we're putting it out there. If your intent is sincere to do what we just talked about, which is, I am going to use this opportunity to grow. What does it mean to grow? I'm able to sit and relax, not suppress or express, just relax. You've heard the Zen expression. It's not about doing or not doing. It's about being. Now you're about to take a journey to understand what that means. You're in there, aren't you? You do see the fear or desire come up inside of you. Can you just relax and say, you're somebody I see. You're not who I am. I'm the one who saw you. I'm the one who feels you. I'm the one you're pulling down into, and I have the right to relax. That's all there is to it. So you figure it out from there, because I'm telling you, and they write me from all over the world every day, you do that, your life's going to change very, very quickly. Of course it will. You used to go with, your whole life was about those drives and impulses and all that kind of stuff. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with what's out there. It means you're coming from a lower place of your being to be reacting to energy you can't deal with. And now I'll go very, very quickly, because now you're into the realm of yoga, real yoga. I mean, asanas are wonderful. This is yoga. Okay? You're in there doing yoga. Like when you get into an asana and you have some pain or tension, what do they tell you to do? Relax through it. Have you ever heard those words? When you're getting a massage and they get to a point that, oh, that's right, that's it. They would tell you, relax through it. I'm telling you the same thing. This is inner massage. This is inner yoga. This is real growth. Relax. Relax. And what will happen is little by little, not all at once, it takes some times, a little bit of the energy is going to make it through. Because you let it. You didn't push it back down. You didn't fight it. You didn't go out, express it outwardly so that it comes right back when you do that. You understand that. If you sit there and eat a piece of chocolate cake, right, if it was great and so on, okay, I'm satisfied. For how long? You're not going to want the chocolate cake again? All right? It doesn't go away when you go with those energies. If you relax, some of that energy makes it through. And you know where it goes? It feeds your soul. It's called the transmutation of energy. It is the essence of yoga. That energy that was blocked down there, because you blocked it down there, pushes up and makes it higher. And it raises you. And you can, over time, feel just better for no reason. You just feel better. You wake up in the morning and you giggle. Why? Don't think about it, because you'll stop giggling. All right? You get higher. Why? Because you took energy that was blocked and you released it. But I didn't release it. You didn't stop it. It's not about you grabbing it or doing some intense thing. It's about you daring to relax. And then what it does, it starts feeding you. It feeds you. And over time, you'll notice that there's a real energy inside of you. And it was really blocked by all this garbage that you collected that created your preference system. And the more you let go, the more you start feeling, I don't want to talk about it. You want to feel love? Wave your hand in front of your heart, and you will feel waves of love pour through your being anytime, at any time. Love is so cheap, it's ridiculous. It's like the only reason you're not feeling yourself, because that is yourself. That is the nature of your being. In the ancient yogic writings, they have a name for you. You in there. Sat Chit Ananda. Ever heard that word? Sat Chit Ananda. Eternal conscious bliss. It's funny because if you read the scriptures, the Upanishads and the different Puranas and stuff, that's a name for God. And it's a name for you. Oh yes, Christ, my Father and I are one. You in there are a very, very high being. You're not some little begging little person running around trying to get something. You're a high being. You're higher than anything you could ever imagine. Because your consciousness is one with the universal consciousness, with the overall consciousness. But you can't know that. Why? Because your consciousness is looking at you. It's not looking up there. It's not knowing its source. It is staring at your thoughts, isn't it? It's staring at your heart and your emotions. So therefore you can't possibly have any understanding what the masters are talking about. When Meher Baba said, I was a drop of water, I fell into the ocean. Find me. That's called merger. That's yoga. Union. It's very high. I don't want to talk like this. We're talking about starting where you are and setting your eyes, right? There's a place to set your eyes. The Father and I are one. The kingdom is within you. You can take Christ's teachings. Why? Because they're exactly the same. They're the essence of yoga. There's no difference. It has to do with, do you understand what's going on inside of you? Right? Man does not live by bread alone, but by every word that leaveth the mouth of the Father. In other words, there's this Shakti, this spirit, this Chi that's pouring inside of you. That feeds you. Now go out and spread it by all means. Sure, get married, but not because you need to. Get married because it's an expression of the beauty that you have inside of you. And it will never go away. Never. Never. Until you decide to leave it, it will not leave you. It is the essence of your being. So I kind of backed into, is there a higher life? What does it mean to set your eyes higher on a daily basis? Then am I getting what I want, avoiding what I don't want? How do I feel about it? And who do I blame? And whose fault is it? And all this little human little stuff. You hear me? You set your eyes higher. How? I taught you, and it is the highest technique you'll learn. Be in there and be conscious. And when you see something come up, and you will, that is drawing you away from your peace, from your center, relax. Don't fight it. Don't renounce it. Don't get guilty. Just relax. Relax. In the book, I bothered to paint a picture which is the ultimate picture. It says you're in a tug-of-war. You know what tug-of-war is? Hold on that rope. On the other end of that tug-of-war is an entire NFL football team. Good luck. You're on this end. So you take every course, every technique, every teacher, everything you can to learn how to get your heels in, lean your weight. I mean, every technique that could possibly happen in order to try and stand your ground on this pull. All right? And all of a sudden, when you're losing, Yoda shows up. I shouldn't tell you this. It's part of the book. One of my favorite parts. Yoda shows up, and he thinks your name is Luke. And he says, Luke, relax your hands. And Luke says, what's it got to do with my hands? It's about body weight. It's about balance. So I don't understand. He says, relax hands. It's over. Okay? And that conversation goes on a little bit. And all of a sudden you realize, whoa, he's really a guru. What happens if you relax your hands? The rope's gone. There's no more tug of war. There's no more fight. That's what I mean when I said, you relax. Don't make them stop pulling. Don't cut the rope. Right? Just There has to be someone on the other end of that rope, doesn't there? You. And there's no pull. You just learn to relax inside. It will take some time. It's something you learn, isn't it? And little by little, and then something will come up and you won't be able to relax. Good. Good. Remember I said every experience is worth having? That's why. You learn to relax. You learn to handle it. Doesn't mean you don't deal with it, but first relax. First you let go. And over time, you liberate yourself. You free yourself of yourself. You die to be reborn. I like using Christ's words in the middle of this, right? It's what he said, isn't it? Okay? You just keep letting go. You keep relaxing and releasing until you realize, hey, I can do this. You know when you realize it? Nothing can ever happen for the rest of my life that I can't let go of. Then I'll deal with it. If I get fired from my job and it wasn't fair, somebody else got it, I just, come on, it's reality, let me let go. And now let me find another job. I don't not find another job. I just have fun trying to find another job, right? And that's what happens. In other words, I am able to handle anything that happens. How would you like people to say that? I am able to handle anything that happens. It doesn't mean I want to deal with it. Run your business. Have a relationship, whatever it is. But not because you're giving into need. You have no needs. You're whole and complete within yourself. You're beyond that. You're the most beautiful thing I walk the face of the earth. You're a very great being. You hear me? I know you don't. You're a very great being. It's just not the experience you've had because you devoted yourself to this psycho mumbo jumbo. You stored all this stuff inside and now you're not whole and now you're trying to compensate for it. You understand? I did that very quickly. If you will work on yourself inside, that's setting your eyes higher. I know you understand. Now the question is, what's your intent? You're not going to do it all at once. It's fine. It's fine. Have fun growing. Have fun working with yourself. It's a video game in there. All right? Make it fun. But that's what I want. That someday you look at me and you say, Mickey, when I go to bed at night, I'm not the same person that woke up in the morning. That's what it should be. I let go of some of that stuff. And I'm freer. I'm more open than I was in the morning because I went through the day. Will you do that? That's good aspiration, isn't it? All right. Work on these things. Jagrative.